Hello students, how are you? I hope you all are doing well. So let us start today's topic, and from our ongoing chapter. The chapter is how do organisms reproduce, okay, and the topic that we are going to start in this video, that is sexual mode of reproduction. In my previous lecture I had explained about asexual mode of reproduction. So first of all, just start from here that where the sexual mode of reproduction is differ from asexual mode of reproduction. So the first major difference, the sexual mode of reproduction involve two parents, okay, as compared to this in asexual mode only one parent is involved. Two parents. And the second major difference is in a sexual mode of reproduction there is sex cells are participating, sex cells, or we can say gametes or germ cells, okay. So no need to worry if there is any one name is given in your book, then they all are same: sex cell, gamete and germ cells, okay. So let us start. As I told, there is two parents or two different individuals are taking participate, and when their sex cells are combining to form a new organism, so there is a pretty much probability the number of chromosomes present in these cells become twice or increase. How? Let's say there is one individual's gamete and there is second individual's gamete. When let's say these have X chromosomes, X number of chromosomes each cell having, and when they join to form a new cell, so X from the first and X from the second, it will become 2X. So if the things are happening like that, then what will happen? What will happen? So this is we can say, if this is going on, then we will surrounded by the DNAs or surrounded by the chromosomes everywhere, but the things are not going like that. So what happens? All the organs which are participating in sexual reproduction mode, they are having a special lineage of cells, and those cells which are participating, those cells having half the number of chromosomes, so half the number of DNAs. So when they participating in sexual mode of reproduction, they when they fuse, after fusing, they form a new organism and establish and re-establish the number of chromosomes, okay. So again the previous example, if there are two different individuals, their sex cells having half the number as compared to other organs, okay. So when they join, they form X, okay. I repeat what I said. The organs which are participating in a sexual mode of reproduction, their cells, about the sex cells having half the number of chromosomes as compared to the cells of non-reproductive parts, okay, as compared to cells of non-reproductive organs, okay. So when these cells are participating, they re-establish the number of chromosomes and number of DNAs in the new generation. So this is about how the number of chromosomes become constant in the next generation to generation. And the next is, we had discussed about the new organism formed. So its first stage of new organism after fusion, that is called zygote, okay. And this zygote at its initial stage required some energy, for, why it required energy? It required energy for growth and development, okay. For the growth and development it required energy. So from where this zygote got the energy? So let us discuss. In the sexual mode there are one male gamete and one is female gamete, okay. This female gamete is larger as compared to the male gamete in size. Okay, the female gamete is larger as compared to the male gamete in size, and this female gamete also has food storage. This female gamete also has food storage, and this male gamete is motile. These are the properties of male and female gamete. So when they fuse, the female gamete provide the food to the zygote. Okay, so this is about how the zygote got food storage. Now the next topic in this chapter is the sexual mode of reproduction followed by flowers, या फिर we can say reproduction in flowering plants. So these are flowering plants are also called angiosperms. Okay, so in flowering plant we have to learn its labeling and its basic parts. Those are like sepal, ovary, petal, style, stigma, anther and filamen. These are the basic parts you had studied in your junior classes also. But particularly in the context of this chapter, we have to know about its reproductive parts. So, reproductive parts in a flower. First is that is stamen. If you are saying stamen or if you are saying stamen, it's for your convenience. Okay, and second, this is the male reproductive part. Okay, male reproductive part, and second is carpel. This is female reproductive part in a flower. Okay, so this carpel have three subparts. One is ovary and style, the elongated part. ये देखिए यहाँ से, look at here, this is the elongated part, this is called style, and this top part, this top terminal, this is called stigma. This is quite sticky. Okay, and stamen also have two parts, one is anther and one is filament. Okay, this anther has pollen grains, and these pollen are basically these pollen grains have male germ cells. Okay, you have to learn all these things as step as like this I am writing. Okay, and in female reproductive part, the ovary has ovules, and these ovules have germ cells or egg cells. Okay, so this is the basic info regarding a flowering plant and its reproductive part. Now the process of reproduction, how it happens in flower. So first of all, this is the diagram for the germination. Okay, this is the carpel, entire female reproductive part. Okay, and this bottom part, this bottom swallowed part, this is called ovary, and this ovary has ovule, and each ovule has germ cells in it. Okay, there is. So how the process start from the first step, when the pollens transferred from the anther to the stigma. Okay, there can be from the pollens transfer from the same flower on the stigma of same flower, or pollen from the other flower to the any next flower or the stigma of the next flower. Okay, so these two kinds of pollination you had studied. And so here, when the pollen transfer from the anther and reaches to the stigma of the carpel, it sticks here. ये यहाँ पर stick कर जाता है. Okay, and then when the pollen reaches here, a pollen tube started to growing from this pollen to via this style part. This is style. Okay, this tubular part is style. The pollen tube started from pollen via this style and reaches to the ovary, and through this pollen tube the male germ cell from the pollen reaches to the ovary, and here in ovule this male germ cell fertilize or fuse with the female germ cell and form a zygote. Okay, this zygote, what it form? Zygote. This zygote repeatedly divided and form an embryo. What it forms? It forms an embryo. Okay, this embryo is within the, this embryo present within the ovule. This is present in ovule. Okay, this ovule with the time gradually develops, and this is develop a hard tough coat around this embryo, a tough coat. Okay, tough coat means a covering around the seed. Okay, like that. So finally when it develops a tough coat, it becomes a seed. It becomes a seed. Okay, we are using seed for to germinate the flowers. Okay, to sow for plantation. And the ovary present around this is this part. Okay, the ovary present around this, like this, if I am going to draw here, it seems like that. This ovary, as time going on, this ovary ripens in the form of a fruit. Okay, so this is how the fertilization executed in a flowering plant. The flowering plant, also known as angiosperms. Okay, and as I told here, about the pollination from one flower to another, or from the same flower, from the anther of the same flower to the stigma, or the another flower anther from the another flower, and the pollen lands on the stigma of other flower. So these are two kinds of pollination. One is cross pollination, and other is self pollination. Okay, so cross and self pollination, two kind of pollination you had studied in your junior classes. So this is the part 2, and we had studied about the reproduction, various first stages like DNA copying, and the constant number of chromosomes, and the zygote required energy, those topics. And we had studied this topic, that is reproduction in flowering plant. Okay, in next video I will explain about the reproduction in human beings. Okay, so watch this video and study this entire topic from NCERT book. Okay, make sure you have to continue with your NCERT, don't leave it. Most important that you have to study, because without studying from your book you are not able to write. Okay, and one more thing about these diagrams, I had analyzed from past 7 to 8 year papers. These are the most important diagram repeatedly coming in your examination, board examination. Okay, if you don't believe, then you can go and cross check. This diagram is coming. If you are going to analyze last 10 year question papers, then you will find this come 7 to 8 times. Okay, yeah, this is true. And now it's okay. We will meet in the next video about human reproductive organs and human reproduction system in human beings. Okay, so bye bye, and don't forget to subscribe the channel, watch it, share it, like it. Bye bye.